All right, welcome back. Yeah, another awesome request for some more uh, 40k lore. This time we got orcs, so let's jump into it.
Oi, you gits. Shut your gob and get your listening gear around this sogging announcement. The problem with this channel is there's too much learning and not enough fighting. Luckily, the boss is the solution to all this namby-pamby mucking about. Get you
I was like, what is that game? Until I saw Geralt, I thought it was a 40k game. I was like, what? Am I missing out here?
legs on over to Twitch, where we've been having a bash 3 times a week. Stellaris, XCOM, Battlefleet Gothic Armada, Total War, Warhammer 2. The boys have crumped it good and proper in each one. Don't be a nothing but a stinking digger knob. Join the Templing Insta... the Templing Insta... join them Templing brain boys on Twitch.
I was thinking about playing a Warhammer game. There's a few that I have on my list that I would like to play. Let me know if you guys would want to see that. Maybe you can't come out and see the live streams, which are Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays, by the way, if you guys didn't know. Yeah, let me know if you would like to see, because I upload my VODs, so if you would like to see a playthrough, you guys could also watch it on YouTube if you'd like. Just let me know.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is only war. Each day on a million worlds, armies clash in an eternity of carnage and slaughter to the laughter of thirsting gods. Across the galaxy, disparate forces muster their fleets in the grim hope that one day, victory might be claimed for the Emperor, the ruinous powers, the greater good, or 1,000 other lost causes. Most fail to realize that the universe in which they exist will not suffer any lasting triumph. Another day's survival is all that can be achieved. In this galaxy hostile to every form of civilization, only one has managed to not only endure, but thrive. They are the most successful race encountered by man, seemingly built for war in every aspect. They are crude, savage, and possess only a low cunning. But while the great works of races 1,000 times more advanced lay in ruins, the ramshackle designs of the Orks thunder onward. Orc physiology is fascinating, terrifying, and contradictory in equal measure.
Ooh, these orcs are a bit more chonky than like World of Warcraft orcs, even though their faces, I mean, the faces of most orcs look the same. I'd say, I don't know, the only ones that don't look like this that I know of are Lord of the Rings orcs, but I think they're Orkai, I believe. So maybe just like a different strand. Anyways,
they exist as a complex interweaving of 2 symbiotic organisms that somehow have been genetically linked. One strain is akin to any number of terrestrial animals found across the galaxy, while the other is a type of fungus, which prevails throughout an individual orc.
What? I'm confused. They're probably going to explain it, but so, ooh, a raid. Thank you, Duck. We're reacting to some Warhammer 40k here. Welcome in, guys. Thank you for the raid, Duck. I'm Bizkla, by the way. My reaction videos have been doing pretty good, and this is another request that I've gotten to watch. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Orc's bloodstream and skin. The animalistic component of their biology carries the genetic information for an orc's subspecies, while the fungus seems to possess the genetic information of the entire race. This latter aspect exhibits many other curious properties, including some kind of ingrained genetic memory or knowledge, a type of biosynthesis, a latent psychic ability, and the capacity to quickly recover.
Wow. I don't know. I've never really been a fan of orcs, but they do tend to, I don't know, they vibe with a lot of people. Like a lot of people like them for some reason. I don't really get it, but we're learning.
Recover from injury. Their ability to withstand tremendous punishment is the defining characteristic of the orc race. They feel surprisingly little pain, even when horrifically injured, and can recover from nearly any type of wound.
Hey, yo, they have no fucking pain receptors? That's very good. And they can recover really fast? They fucking like Wolverine in this shit? That's crazy.
Orcs that have been literally cut apart have been known to survive when stitched back together, and beheaded orcs, whose heads were then attached back on their own or another's body, have been able to fully recover as well.
Oh, okay. So they don't stay alive when their head comes off. Do they? Do they stay alive without their heads? Or is it like a head transplant situation? Is there silly nature? Yeah, we like the silliness.
While any other species would weaken or tire when subjected to constant physical harm over a prolonged period of time, the opposite appears true for the orcs. They can survive grievous wounds with little apparent long-term consequences, save some superficial scarring, and instead seem to develop physically the more damage they are able to endure. The average orc stands much taller than a man, although their typical hunched stance makes this not readily apparent. Orcs will grow all their lives, and a particularly skillful orc will continue to become larger and stronger until they are beaten or killed.
You know what? That really shocked me once. I didn't play Horde on World of Warcraft, which is my main frame of reference for like orcs. But trolls in World of Warcraft are the tallest race by far, but they're usually like they're almost like crawl sometimes. But if they have a idle animation where they like kind of stretch, and they're super tall. It's really weird.
Orc reproduction remains barely understood, but revolves around a kind of fungal spore. If left undisturbed, entirely self-sufficient communities of orcs can arise from these spores years or even decades after their predecessors were defeated or driven away. Like the extragalactic Tyranids, the orcoid race resembles an ecosystem composed of various subspecies arranged in a brutal hierarchy. Colloquially, these component species are referred to as greenskins. The first and least complex form of orc life to gestate are squigs. Squigs are themselves comprised of various subtypes used by higher forms of orc life for nearly every purpose. Oil squigs secrete a viscous black lubricant used to keep orc machinery functioning. Mending squigs can be used to suture limbs back in place, while facebiter squigs are little more than ravenous drooling mouths on legs and kept by orc warlords as a symbol of status.
What the fuck? I hate that.
Other forms of squig life include parasite hunting squigs, bag squigs, and the rare and bizarre squig pipe, utilized as a musical instrument. The most common squig is the eaten squig, a limbless blob that feeds on orc refuse, which is in turn consumed by higher orc species. Feared above all is the squigoth, which range in size from that of a main battle tank to the titans used by the Collegia Titanica. Next to emerge are snotlings. Far too scrawny and weak to bear weapons, and lacking the violent tendencies of their larger brethren, snotlings instead cultivate the large patches of fungi that spread wherever orcs multiply.
Snot goblins, let's go.
They provide food, drink, and medicine to the orc race, and possess a natural affinity for squigs, which they raise and then train. In battle, a snotling's only use is that of ammunition, fired from a cruel device known as the shock attack gun. Immediately above the snotlings in the greenskin hierarchy are the Gretchen, or grots. Of all the orc subspecies, they display the greatest capacity for cunning. They are fast learners and quick to spot an opportunity or weakness. Within any orc tribe, most serve as laborers, scouts, thieves, or even assassins. The Gretchen's instinct for self-preservation borders on a rudimentary sixth sense, although this is often not enough to prevent them from being forced into serving as living shields, minesweepers, or emergency rations. The above-average intelligence of the Gretchen has led to the emergence of an underground economy within their normally orc-dominated society.
This is so weird. I was not expecting this to be like a tadpole kind of situation. It's really throwing me off.
Many Gretchen operate their own black market businesses, selling fungus beer, roasted squigs, or gambling enterprises. The level of sophistication present in these enterprises is almost unknown elsewhere in the Greenskin civilization, and enables the Gretchen to enjoy relatively comfortable lives, while still existing as slaves to their larger masters. These subspecies endure a symbiotic relationship with their orc overseers, trading menial tasks in exchange for protection. Within the orcs themselves, the social hierarchy is straightforward and brutal. They will instinctively obey those larger than themselves, and while some might rise to prominence through cunning or deception, most seize power and retain it through the application of brute force.
I mean, when homie over here is like an actual mountain, like, I doubt this guy is gonna like step to him, you know? That's I mean, the strongest survive and strongest lead usually. That makes sense.
At the head of every orc horde is a war boss or warlord, typically the biggest and meanest of his kind, who has risen through the ranks to primacy by winning battles and killing any other challengers. First and foremost a powerful warrior, the war boss will hold absolute authority in his tribe or warband. The decisions of the war boss are enforced by a crude ruling caste of orcs known as knobs. A type of nobility amongst the orcs by the loosest definition of the word, the knobs have earned a position of prominence due to their greater than average size and strength. All others in an orc tribe are referred to as boys. Depending on their specialty in combat, they may be known as slugga-boys, shoota-boys, ard-boys, wild-boys, or fly-boys.
They might get to it, but I've always wondered, just from seeing it here and there, like, what's with the checker flag kind of? What's that about? Is that like a certain sect of them, like a certain squad of orcs?
While any orc intelligent enough to recognize which part of a grenade is thrown once the pin is removed is known as a stick bomber. A caste of specialists also exists within the boys, orcs who have been born with specific information programmed into their minds that are released once they reach maturity. These so-called odd boys include pain boys or mad docs, who use their stabby bits as medical tools. The crude bionics that are sometimes implanted in higher-ranking orc are the work of pain boys, although their work in this area has the tendency to explode without warning. Psychers too exist within the orc race, referred to as weird boys. Unlike those in other races, these weird boys draw upon the innate psychic potential of the orc species itself, rather than the energies of the warp. This type of psychic power has its own dangers, however. Should a weird boy soak up too much of this energy, his head may explode, and the resulting backlash also explode the heads of any orcs nearby.
Oh, that seems like a drawback.
Mech boys, or mechaniacs, serve as engineers and technicians who build all the weapons, vehicles, and other technology used by the orc race. Like every other advanced process associated with the greenskins, their work is notorious for suddenly exploding. Orc technology is one of the least understood facets of their civilization.
Likely to malfunction. There's some goblin, like if you take goblin engineering in World of Warcraft, I'm pretty sure they have like a defibrillator, like goblin, it's like goblin reanimation device or something like that. And it can actually backfire and just kill you, I'm pretty sure. I always thought that was pretty funny.
It is almost always ramshackle and slapped together, yet functions as well or better than anything comparable within other species. The impossible nature of orc technology is believed to be a result of their latent psychic powers. If enough orcs believe something is true, it will actually become so, brought into existence through pure will.
So, fucking North Korea. Our leader does not poop. There's no poop to be had here.
As such, orc rockets painted yellow create bigger explosions, orc vehicles painted red will go faster, and orc guns are often nothing more than a box with bolts and bits of metal in it. This technology, such as it is the result of a constant stream of poorly thought out experimentation and attempts to constantly outdo the competition. It is usually as deadly to its operators as to the enemy, and countless orcs have died in the pursuit of building the biggest, fastest, or meanest weaponry. This simplistic and brutal approach is reflected in every aspect of what they call culture. Questions regarding the nature of the universe that have led entire civilizations to corruption and ruin never occur to orcs in the first place.
That buggy looked fucking dope. I would love to roll around in this thing. Fucking sick. So like the red paint, they said they believe it makes things go faster. So the checkered flag must mean something. I would like to know.
To corruption and ruin never occur to orcs in the first place. They have but one philosophy: might makes right, and not one orc has ever doubted this for a single moment. This unshakable self-belief is likely the most dangerous quality of the orcs. For them, the universe is a very simple and straightforward place, free of the angst and worry that plagues most other races. Orcs have little recognition for concepts like fate or destiny, and are not frustrated when their plans fail. Instead, they just try again, usually in a different way after forgetting how they attempted it the first time. Never does an orc reflect on their own weakness, instead making remarkable progress through bloody trial and error. As long as an orc has someone to fight, someone bigger to tell him who to kill next, and someone smaller to abuse, he will know contentment. War and killing are their only real motivation, the one exception being the desire to possess even bigger and louder weapons or vehicles. Orcs are almost always engaged in a torrent of bloodshed and mindless violence, sometimes against the other races of the galaxy, but typically amongst themselves. Usually these conflicts are smaller scale or localized, and never develop beyond random outbursts of violence and looting.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know if you guys can see this jaw. I just wanted to comment on that. Like, so is this just like a replacement jaw? They can probably take it because they heal fast. Is it like, do they eat people? Like, do they bite? I feel like they might, because they got tusks, right?
Beyond random outbursts of
that they're meleeed, they just bite people.
Sometimes, however, should a particularly skilled war boss achieve a string of successes, orcs will flock to his banner to share in his victories. Once this orc population reaches a form of critical mass, a WOG might be declared. Part military campaign and part migration, a WOG is a war on an apocalyptic scale. Orcs beyond counting swarm from one continent to the next, and eventually from world to world. As tales of the WOG spread, more orc clans will rush to join, while any potential challengers
it's the WOG
and their clan subsumed, or they will take control of the WOG themselves. As this campaign gains more and more momentum, the disparate clans within grow more unified until they represent an unstoppable force on the galactic stage. These WOGs rarely possess any clear objective, seeking only to unleash as much carnage as possible across the universe. Within orc culture, a WOG is the ultimate expression of their twin gods, Gork, who is brutal but cunning, and Mork, who is cunning but brutal. While they may seem identical to outsiders, Gork is said to be the god of clobbering, smashing, and killing, while Mork is the god of clobbering, smashing, and killing, while an enemy's back is turned.
While his back is turned, that's the distinction, guys. Remember that. There will be a quiz.
Orcs exist in every corner of the universe, and there is no environment too extreme for them to not only survive, but flourish. They have been discovered on toxic death planets, depressurized orbital platforms, drifting ice floes, irradiated asteroid fields, inside corrosive swamps, or on lightless nightmare worlds seething with horrific predators. Even in the bombed-out remains of planets subjected to exterminatus, orcs can sometimes be found, and there are rumors of orc enclaves hidden within the Eye of Terror itself. These holdings vary from pirate outposts that prey on merchant shipping to
Sorry, what? Pirate orcs? Okay.
system-spanning orc empires inhabited by tens of trillions of greenskins. These are normally divided into clans and tribes. Clans are massive groups of orcs who share an enduring philosophical viewpoint on greenskin life, while tribes are much less stable, constantly breaking apart and reforming. A single tribe might include orcs from many different clans, but for the most part, an individual orc's allegiance is to his war boss above his clan. While it can be difficult to distinguish all the orc clans, generally there are 6 that are truly widespread and found in almost every tribe in the galaxy: the Bad Moons, Blood Axes, Death Skulls, Evil Suns, Goths, and Snakebites. It is the dream of every aspirant war boss to one day unite the clans and tribes and usher in an even greater era of slaughter across the galaxy. Many have come close: Clawjaw, the mighty mangler of Bork, Tuska, the demon killer, Snagrod, the arch arsonist, and Nazdrag Ugg Erdgrub. Above them all, however, is the self-proclaimed prophet of the Wog, known to the Imperium as the Beast of Armageddon, Gazgul Mag Uruk Thraka. The single most influential orc in the galaxy, Gazgul Thraka believes himself to be the instrument of Gork and Mork.
I mean, the guy's got a fucking, like, Gatling gun as an arm.
Destined to lead the greatest Wog
And, like,
of all time.
Some kind of excavator scoop on the other side. Looks pretty fucking... I would not want to mess with it.
This is in part due to the work of Mad Dog Grotznik, whose cybernetic enhancements have supposedly allowed Thraka to speak to the great green gods of the orcs directly. Again and again, Gazgul has unleashed his followers against the Imperium of Man, or come to the aid of the Octarius Empire in their fight against the Tyranids. But as the time of ending approaches and the great rift of chaos spreads across the galaxy, it is clear that Gazgul Thraka has his sights on a higher calling. Across every orc clan and tribe, rumors abound that Gazgul will soon proclaim the Ragnarok, a time when every orc shall rise up to conquer the galaxy. In untold numbers, orcs have already started their migration towards the key battles of the Great Wog, and should Ragnarok finally be declared, there may be no force in the galaxy strong enough to withstand it.
So, do their ships not have guns, or are they just like ramming into other ships? I respect it. Is that the end? All right, yeah, very cool. Thank you for suggesting that. You know who you are. If you guys would like to see any other videos, or like have me react to anything else you think I would like, just leave it in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you very much.